This is Art Television.
Coming up, State of Business, sponsored by
IWS Aviation.
A very good evening and a very warm welcome to State of Business on Art Television. I'm Savindra Jayawardena. Let's look at the top stories for the day. The economy of Sri Lanka cannot withstand a country-wide lockdown. Minister Bandula stresses. Over 60% of country's population can be vaccinated by end of this year, Health Minister assures. News in detail. The Army Commander General Shavendra Silva declared today morning that 14 more Gramilda divisions have been placed under isolation orders with immediate effect. Highlighting the gravity of the situation, Sri Lanka countered a surge in number of coronavirus cases with 1,914 new caseloads registered yesterday. The National Operations Centre for Prevention of COVID-19 outbreak states that 14 Gramanildar divisions in Colombo, Gampaha, Ratnapura and Vaunia districts have been isolated with effect from today morning. Accordingly, the Pamunua Gramanildar division in the Maharagam police area, Honnantara and Daltara Gramanildar divisions in the Piliandala police area have been isolated in the Colombo district. The Kuttuvila Gramanildar division in the Kirindwala police area has also been isolated with effect from today morning. The government said that the Pallegama Gramanildar division, the Udagama Gramanildar division and Newtown Gramanildar division in the Amblipiti police area are also placed under isolation orders. Valagoda Gramanildar division in the Panamura police area, Sudugala Gramanildar division in the Panamura police area, Panamura Gramanildar division and the Radganga Gramanildar division in the Vevalvatta police area in Ratnapura district have also been isolated from today. The Kurukkal Putukalam Gramanildar division in the Vaunia district has also been isolated. According to Health Promotion Bureau statistics, more than 15,000 people are under treatment for COVID-19 at the hospitals in Sri Lanka, while more than 100,000 COVID-19 recovery cases are reported. Due to the Nivea cluster, the number of confirmed coronavirus cases in the country has arisen to more than 115,000, with 11 more deaths recorded as of 4:30 p.m. today. Meanwhile, the Sri Lanka Navy has developed a 162-bed intermediate care centre for COVID-19 patients at the Booster Naval Base in Galle in response to a request from the Health Ministry. In the meantime, Trade Minister Dr. Bandula Gunawardena told the Parliament that the country is not in an economically strong position to go for a country-wide lockdown. Despite the request from the opposition to lock down the country, Trade Minister Gunawardena said that this year's economic growth was contracted to minus 3.6% due to the lockdown.
සමහර අය කියනවා මේ ව්‍යසනය තුල කොරෝනා වෛරසයේ පැතිරීම වැළැක්වීම සඳහා රට ලොක්ඩවුන් කරන්න. ඔක්කොම වහන්න. වැව්වොත් මේ ප්‍රශ්නේ විසඳ ගන්න පුළුවන් කියලා. වහන්න කියලා වහපු එකේ ප්‍රතිඵලය තමයි ඍණ 3.6ට ආර්ථිකය වැටුණා. දැන් අපේ රටේ ඔබතුමත් දන්නවා මේ ආර්ථිකයේ තිබෙනවා නිෂ්පාදනය, පරිභෝජනය, හුවමාරුව කියලා ප්‍රධාන ක්‍රියාවලීන් තුනක්. පරිභෝජනය හැරුණාම නිෂ්පාදනය සහ විනිමය කියන දෙක ආර්ථික ක්‍රියාවන් දෙක නතර වුණොත්, ගුවන් තොටුපළ වැහුවොත්, වරාය වැහුවොත්, කර්මාන්ත ශාලා වැහුවොත්, කෘෂිකාර්මික කටයුතු සඳහා යන්න ඉඩ නොදුන්නොත්, මුළු රටම වැහුවොත් ඒ ඇතිවන පීඩනය එක් අංශවල කවර ප්‍රමාණයෙන්ද කියන එක පිළිබඳ තක්සේරුවක් අපිට නැහැ.
Moreover, Health Minister Pavitra Vanniyaraja told Parliament yesterday that the government hopes to vaccinate 63% of the country's total population by the end of the year. Joining the debate on the emerging COVID-19 pandemic situation, the Health Minister indicated that the vaccination program is still underway. Health Minister Pavitra Vanyarachi said that the government has requested 13 million Sputnik V vaccine doses from Russia, with 15,000 doses arrived in Sri Lanka yesterday. The minister also confirmed that agreements with vaccine producers have been signed for the supply of AstraZeneca and Pfizer vaccines, which are scheduled to arrive in the country this year. As part of the government's efforts to monitor the third wave of COVID-19 in the country, the health minister assures that measures have been taken to increase the bed capacity and meet the growing demand for oxygen cylinders. Addressing the parliament further, health minister claims that currently around 25,000 PCR tests are done daily at a cost of 44 million rupees per day.
දැනට කොවිඩ් රෝගීන් සඳහා දල වශයෙන් ඇඳන් 13,800ක් රෝහල්වල අප වෙන් කර තිබෙනවා. අද දිනය වෙන. ඉතිරි සති දෙක තුල රෝගීන් සඳහා තවත් ඇඳන් 10,000ක් වෙන් කිරීමට අපි කටයුතු කරනු ලබනවා. එලෙසම අප පාවිච්චි කරන දැනට අපේ රටේ රෝහල්වලට අවශ්‍ය කරන ඔක්සිජන් ධාරිතාවය ටොන් 25යි. එහෙත් ඔක්සිජන් ටොන් 80කට පමණ වනතෙක් ධාරිතාවය වැඩි කිරීමේ හැකියාව අප සතුව තිබෙනවා. විශේෂයෙන්ම ඔක්සිජන් තිබ්බට ගරු මූලාසනාරූඪ මන්ත්‍රීතුමියනි අපිට මදි ඒවා භාවිතා කිරීමට සිලින්ඩර් අවශ්‍ය වෙනවා. ඉන්දියාවේ අපදිටුවේ මේ ඔක්සිජන් වල හිඟයටත් වඩා සිලින්ඩර් වල හිඟය. අද ලංකාවේ රෝහල් තුල සාමාන්‍ය සිලින්ඩර් ඔක්සිජන් සිලින්ඩර් 24,000ක් සහ ජම්බෝ සිලින්ඩර් 4,000ක් අපි සතුව අදට තිබෙනවා. අප කඩිනමින් තවත් අමතර ජම්බෝ සිලින්ඩර් 7,000ක් ඇනවුම් කරා. මේ සතියේ එයින් 400ක් ලැබීමට නියමිතව තිබෙනවා. ඒ වගේම අප කොවිඩ් රෝගීන් සඳහා ICU ඇඳන් 104ක් වෙන් කරනු ලැබුවා. පසුගිය කාලේ කොවිඩ් රෝගීන් දවසකට 200කට අඩු සංඛ්‍යාවක් එන වෙලාවේ මේ ICU ඇඳන් සාමාන්‍ය රෝගීන් සඳහාත් අපි පාවිච්චි කරා. හැබැයි දැන් මේ වන විට ICU ඇඳන් 104ක් අපි කොවිඩ් රෝගීන් සඳහා වෙන් කරලා තියෙනවා. ඒ වගේම HDU ඇඳන් high dependency unit 64ක් වෙන් කරලා තියෙනවා. අද ICU ඇඳන් 58ක අසාධ්‍ය තත්ත්වයේ ලෙඩුන් සිටිනවා. ඒ වගේම තවත් අමතර අවශ්‍ය වුණොත් ICU ඇඳන් 138ක් සහ HDU ඇඳන් 56ක් වෙන් කිරීම සඳහා අපි සූදානම් කර තිබෙනවා.
Stay tuned for more news right after this break.
News, views, highlights, updates and opinions. This is Wake Up With Us.
Welcome back after the break. The strengths and capabilities of the Sri Lanka's construction industry was highlighted, and the officials were informed about the available opportunities in a country like Nepal. This brainstorming session took place recently as the Sri Lanka Embassy in Nepal had organized a webinar in collaboration with the Export Development Board. Construction industry stakeholders from Sri Lanka and Nepal discussed areas for strengthening cooperation in a webinar held between stakeholders of the two countries. In his opening remarks, EDB Chairman Suresh Dimal described Nepal as a significant market for joint ventures in the construction industry and elaborated on the strengths and capabilities of the Sri Lanka's construction industry to serve the international market. He emphasized Sri Lanka's skills in green construction, urban planning, soil and geology, hydropower and low-cost housing. Ambassador of Nepal, Himali Arunatilaka, highlighted the event as a chance to turn the mutual relationship between Sri Lanka and Nepal into a fruitful economic partnership. She shared her expectation that the interaction would provide prospects for capacity development and education programs in addition to business relations. Both parties accepted the ability to reinforce ties, form alliances, and discuss business and technological arrangements and joint ventures. The webinar drew about 100 people from both nations representing business bodies, technical societies, and construction firms. The discussion concluded with both parties deciding to form joint and individual relationships in order to continue the discourse about potential future partnerships. The Teachers Association of the Open University of Sri Lanka expressed its firm disagreement and disappointment with the university's unreasonable dismissal of the Vice-Chancellor shortlist. The association president, Professor Anton Priyaratna, and Secretary Dr. N. Karthikeyan at a media briefing in Colombo yesterday said that they see a hidden political hand behind the scene. The Open University Teachers Association expressed its deep opposition and concern at the Presidential Secretariat's unreasonable dismissal of the university's Vice-Chancellor's shortlist. According to Teachers Association, the Presidential Secretariat has triggered uncertainty and crisis by informing the university via the University Grant Commission that all 3 names have been refused with no explanation for the rejection. The association also argues that there is strong possibility that the dismissal of the list was due to political involvement. Moreover, the association firmly urges the government to reconsider its decision to unilaterally refuse the shortlisted candidate list for the Open University's Vice-Chancellor post.
So we are telling the government now, with the rejection of the 3 candidates duly selected and presented to the Executive President, Mr. Gotabaya Rajapaksa, by willfully rejecting the 3 candidates without giving proper reasons, you have proved not only to the people of this country, but to the entire international community that what you believe in as head of state is authoritarianism.
WHO Sri Lanka officer in charge Dr. Olivia Nivras assures that the World Health Organization and the United Nations stand ready to help save lives and monitor the spread of COVID-19 in Sri Lanka. Issuing a message on the COVID-19 situation in Sri Lanka yesterday, she urged public to take current situation seriously. World Health Organization Sri Lanka officer Dr. Olivia Nivras requested to avoid 3 C's, namely closed spaces with poor ventilation, crowded places with many people nearby, and close contact settings. Dr. Olivia claims that vaccines are effective instruments for controlling COVID-19, but researchers from around the world have shown that we cannot vaccinate our way out of this crisis. However, she further pointed out that we can overcome the crisis if we do our parts together.
The health workers, security forces, and other local authorities cannot do this alone. Vaccines are powerful tools that are key to controlling COVID-19. Yes, but recent surges around the world prove that we cannot vaccinate our way out of this problem. However, we have evidence-based tools to reduce the spread. You can avoid the 3 C's. First, avoid crowded places, confined in enclosed spaces, and close contact settings. And in Sri Lanka, we follow the DREAM. We maintain physical distance, practice respiratory hygiene, we wash our hands with soap and water, disinfect surfaces, wear a mask appropriately, and stay at home if you don't feel well. We must follow these recommended behaviors to protect ourselves, our families, and our loved ones.
Stay tuned for more news right after this break.
Sponsored by
Welcome back after the break. Trading at Colombo Stock Exchange ended on a positive note today. The all-share price index gained 45.85 points to close at 7,157.30, and the S&P SL 20 gained 20.56 points to close at 2,836.50. The turnover was 8.9 billion rupees and over 74 million shares were traded. Up next are Forex trades. And that's all news for today. See you tomorrow with State of Business at the usual time. Until then, take care and good night.
State of Business was sponsored by